When Oloi Oten and Oloi Asipa finally arrived at the compound of the great warrior Balogun Afidipotmo in Aragunio, the sun stood high above their heads, blazing like a watchful eye. The warrior's house was not like that of ordinary men. Spears lined the walls, shields hung from carved pillars, and symbols of ancient victories were etched upon the entrance gate. Even the air around the compound seemed to vibrate with hidden power. They were welcomed by attendants and led into a wide courtyard where the Balogun himself was seated upon a low stool, surrounded by warriors polishing weapons and chanting softly. He was a tall man with shoulders broad as a doorway, eyes sharp like an eagle's, and scars that told stories of battles fought and won. Oloi Oten stepped forward, bowed deeply, and placed kola nuts before him. "Great Balogun Afidipotmo," he began, "we greet you in honor and humility. We come from Atia village on the authority of our king, Oba Adigoroy, to seek your help. Our land is under siege by three dreaded criminals, Ajigbida, Bibilori, and Forifogo, whose charms make them vanish whenever capture is near. Our people suffer daily, and peace has fled our soil." The warrior listened silently. Though he looked busy and surrounded by duties, his face softened slightly at the mention of Atia. "Atia," he repeated slowly. "That is the village of my forefathers. My grandfather was born there before he settled in Aragunio. The blood of Atia flows in my veins." He stood up, towering like a palm tree. "For the sake of my ancestors," he declared, "I shall help your people." The chief sighed with relief and gratitude. Without delay, Balogun Afidipotmo entered his inner shrine to consult his powerful Orisa. The air inside was thick with incense and sacred chants. He cast divination seeds upon a mat, whispered ancient incantations, and listened for spiritual guidance. When he emerged, his eyes shone with certainty. "The path is clear," he said. "Victory shall be ours." He gathered many charms, leather pouches filled with protective herbs, amulets carved from sacred wood, powders that repelled dark magic. Then he summoned his warriors, brave men trained in both combat and spiritual discipline. They assembled swiftly, armed with cutlasses, Dane guns, and shields. With war songs rising from their throats, they began their march toward Atia. The journey was not easy. On the forest road they encountered strange obstacles. At one point a thick mist appeared suddenly, hiding the path. But the Balogun cast a charm into the air, and the mist split apart like cloth torn in two. Later, wild animals charged from the bushes, yet the warriors stood firm, chanting protection verses until the beasts retreated. Even a fallen tree that blocked their way was cleared swiftly, as though the forest itself feared their mission. At last they reached the outskirts of Atia village. Word spread like lightning, "The warrior has come. The warrior has come." Villagers rushed out, hope shining on their faces for the first time in many moons. The chiefs received Balogun Afidipotmo with deep bows and led him to the palace, where Oba Adigoro welcomed him with royal honor. "You have come as rain comes to thirsty land," the king said gratefully. That very night, the Balogun prepared for the hunt. Sitting cross-legged, he brought out his sacred spiritual compass, a mystical instrument said to point not north or south but toward evil itself. He whispered incantations, and the compass needle began to spin wildly before settling in one direction. "Their hiding place lies there," he said. With his warriors and a few selected guards, he followed the direction through narrow paths, across dry streams, and into a hidden thicket outside the village. At the center of the thicket stood a concealed hut made of mud and leaves. "They are inside," he whispered. At his signal, the warriors surrounded the hut. The door burst open, and out sprang Ajigbida, Bibilori, and Forifogo, weapons in hand. They chanted spells, trying to vanish as they had always done. But this time their charms failed. The Balogun had already scattered counter-charms across the ground. Their bodies froze as though tied by invisible ropes. Within moments they were overpowered, bound tightly, and dragged out alive. At dawn the captured criminals were taken to the palace of Oba Adigoroy. The king ordered the town crier to beat his gong across every street. "People of Atia," the crier shouted, "come and see the faces of those who have troubled our land." Men, women, and children poured into the palace courtyard in great numbers. Murmurs filled the air as the prisoners were brought out in chains. Many villagers gasped, others clenched fists in anger. These were the men who had stolen their peace. The king rose, staff in hand. Ajigbida, Bibilori, and Forifogo, he proclaimed, "You have brought sorrow upon Atia. According to the law of our ancestors, those who shed innocent blood shall pay with their own. Tomorrow at the 10th hour of the morning, you shall face execution." A loud murmur of approval spread through the crowd. The following day the entire village gathered again, even more than before. By 10 o'clock the three criminals were tied each to separate wooden poles in the execution ground. Guards stood ready. Drums beat slowly, echoing like a heartbeat. The king lifted his hand for silence. By our custom, he announced, any family member of the condemned may step forward to give them final words. The crowd waited. From the back, a lone woman stepped forward. She was dressed in plain cloth, her face lined with age yet dignified. The king looked closely, and recognition flashed in his eyes. "You," he said softly. "You are my old friend, the one who once helped me when I was a wandering prince." She bowed. "Yes, Kobiyisi." The king's voice grew gentle. "Tell us, for which of these criminals have you come? Choose, for only one relative may speak." The woman lifted her head. "Kobiyisi, I have come for all three." A ripple of surprise passed through the crowd. "How so?" the king asked. She pointed calmly. "The first is my husband. The second is my only son. The third is my brother from the same mother." The entire gathering gasped. The king was silent for a long moment, remembering the kindness this woman had once shown him in his youth. Finally he spoke. "Because of the good you did for me in the past, I grant you a rare privilege. You may save one of them from death. Choose wisely." Confusion spread among the villagers. Some whispered, she would choose her son. Others said, no, her husband. All eyes fixed on her. She closed her eyes for several minutes, thinking deeply. At last she knelt. "Kobiyisi," she said, "I thank you for your mercy. I choose to save my brother." The crowd exploded in shocked cries. Even the chief stared in disbelief. The king raised his hand. "Woman, why choose your brother instead of your husband or your only son?" She answered calmly, "If I wish, I can marry another husband. If destiny allows, I can bear another child. But my brother, born of the same father and mother as I, can never be replaced." Silence fell upon the crowd, heavy and thoughtful. The king looked long at her, wisdom dawning in his eyes. At last he nodded slowly. "Your words reveal deep understanding of blood and kinship. Because of your wisdom and the kindness you once showed me, I shall not only spare your brother, I shall spare all three. Yet justice must still stand. Therefore Ajigbida, Bibilori, and Forifogo are banished forever from Atia. If they return, death shall claim them without mercy." The crowd erupted, some in surprise, others in admiration. Guards untied the prisoners, removed their chains, and drove them out of the village boundary under watchful eyes. Peace settled over Atia once more. Songs returned. Markets reopened. Children laughed again beneath the moonlight. And from that day, the story of the woman's choice and the king's wisdom was told from generation to generation as a lesson, that mercy guided by wisdom can heal a land more deeply than punishment alone. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe for more interesting videos like this.